Hello friends, I'm Kaustubh. I hope you're doing well. This is second session in the series on Hind Swaraj, the book written by Mahatma Gandhi. Before moving ahead, I would request you to subscribe to this channel so that whenever I upload a session, you get a notification regarding it. Today in this book, we'll be discussing the chapter 1, the Congress and its officials. While discussing, Gandhiji begins with the objectives of newspapers. He says that there are three objectives every newspaper should have: to understand popular feeling and to give expression to it, to arouse among the people certain desirable elements or sentiments, and to fearlessly expose the popular defects. Now, in this context, you can use this as a metric to evaluate the newspapers in the present scenario. Not only just newspapers, why just newspapers? Think about the media. So, do they really understand the popular feeling or they manipulate it? The expression that media gives to, are they really the important issues that people at large face? Then, does media really help arouse desirable sentiments in people? For example, social change or reform? And today's media, does it fearlessly expose the popular defects? You will have your answers. Considering the fact that most of the media houses today have become propaganda channels for various political parties or personalities or corporate houses. So, this fourth pillar of democracy, the way it is getting eroded, Gandhi sensed it at that time, and he believed that newspaper or media in general plays a very important role in any society or democracy. Now, the next important issue is his comments on early Congress leaders. It is a mark of wisdom not to kick away the very step from which we are rising higher. Now, what is the context of this statement? The context is the split in Congress. I told you the book was in 1908. So, the Congress split in Surat at 1907. So, it was just the partition of Bengal in 1905, the Swadeshi movement, and then the split in Congress came in 1907. The major reason for split was the division of Congress into moderates and extremists. Now, here, the reporter was asking questions to Gandhiji regarding the role of moderates or the people who worked earlier and then the change that has been brought now in the present context in the Indian freedom struggle. So Gandhiji is making a very deep point. He's saying that it's a mark of wisdom not to kick away the very step from which we are rising. So we may be a part of a system. Many people must have worked in that system before us. We have the advantage of hindsight that we can say, for example, in 1908 or 10, the extremists or the people at large were able to criticize the moderates. That these moderates have faith in British intentions, they lack connect with the masses, they just believe in petitions, and just petitions and nothing else. But then, this is a benefit of hindsight that we have. The moderates too functioned in a particular context and a situation. They had their own understanding of evaluating what works and what does not. They cannot be faulted for their motivation or intention. So Gandhi was right in this aspect that it's not a mark of wisdom to kick away the very step from which we are rising higher. So we have to respect. He also goes on to say, a nation that is desirous of securing home rule cannot afford to despise its ancestors. So just relate this context to the present scenario. Today it has become very fashionable to blame, so for example, Nehru, right? But you have to understand the context and the timing of India's independence, the situation at that time, the kind of country we inherited, what the British left us behind with, and then the job of building the country from that scratch. We have the advantage of hindsight. Today, sitting comfortable in our office or homes, we can make comments. But then the people who worked at that time, they were working ipso facto, so they didn't know whether they'll succeed or not. A lot of things that we know today were uncertainties for them. So Gandhiji says that we cannot afford to despise our ancestors. We have to build up. We have to learn from mistakes if they have done any, but we have to build up on the legacy that they have left for us. So In the third point, he says only men with mature thoughts are capable of ruling themselves and not the hasty tempered. Now, this is also a very important point. There was a major difference between Gandhiji and most other leaders at that time. Gandhiji's quality was he understood and then he acted. So he first understood the Indian masses, he understood the nature of British, he understood what is resulting into slavery or India being a colony of the British. And then, having diagnosed the problem properly, he went on to give a solution in the form of, say, satyagraha, non-violence, and so on. So he was not in a hurry to get freedom. You observe his speeches, he says that it's okay even if freedom does not come in my lifetime. But then he knew that the freedom that he gains, it is not just an end in itself. So here Gandhiji brings a lot of ethics into his politics. He says that freedom or independence, he doesn't see it as an end in itself. Like most other people or freedom fighters who were more radical and extremists. So he says that freedom is just a means to an end, right? And the kind of end that he was imagining, the Swaraj that he was imagining, that could not be achieved by use of violence. So Gandhiji's ethics were very deep. Next, here Gandhiji says that those holding different views from us are not the enemies of the country. See, this statement from 1908 is relevant even 100 years beyond. So today also, you see the problem in the country. You say at the national level, global level, in other countries, or even at state level, locally, you see this tendency that anyone who expresses dissent is painted as anti-national and is acted upon, is trolled on social media. So Gandhiji says that those holding different views from us are not the enemies of country. We have to understand that they are also contributing. So extremists and moderates, they were not, though they behaved like enemies of each other, they were not the enemies of each other. Rather, they were the people who had similar vision for a free, independent India. So this maturity is required in the present context also. Next, this is a very, very important ethical principle that Gandhiji brings about. He says that it is in the context of Indians' approach to British, who were the colonizers. He says, we who seek justice will have to do justice to others. Now here, those who have studied ethics, you can relate it to the Kantian ethics or Kantian principles, who says that do unto others as you would want others to do unto yourself. But then, do not fall into the trap. Gandhiji and Immanuel Kant, though their principles up to certain or in certain respects, you find certain similarity, Gandhiji cannot be bracketed completely as a Kantian, non-Kantian, or like Socratic or Aristotelian. It's not like that. He himself can be interpreted as a philosopher. He has his own way to arrive at principles, ethics, and the truth that he tried to find throughout his life. We need to understand that Gandhiji at that time was the first person to go against the established English proverb or ethical principle which said that ends justify the means. But Gandhiji did not, he was the first one to oppose it. He says that ends do not justify the means. The means are, if not more, equal to the ends in their importance. Rather, means are more important than ends. So, the harmony between thought, belief, and action, the harmony between ends and means, and the principle of truth, that was the crux of Gandhian thought. If you have to really sum up, just look at Gandhiji's tenure in South Africa as well as India, as he sums it up, right? That my life is my message, or my life is all about my experiments with truth. So his biography is also the story of my experiments with truth. So just think of Gandhiji as a ethical but scientific person who was trying to experiment with ethics on a very larger scale, not only at personal level, at social level, and at a mass political level in India. So he conducted experiments. Wherever things backfired, he just went into his cocoon, thought over it again, came back again with another solution, experimented it again, and through these experiments, I can say he was able to deliver sustained or sustainable freedom to our country. This is all from my side today. Thank you, and I request you to subscribe to this channel, like, share, and comment on the video when you're done watching. Thank you.